Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alrighty. Going to review TNA No Surrender, happened on Friday night. Overall, pretty decent show. Nothing spectacular, nothing crazy happened or anything. Just a standard show. Alright, we had two pre-show matches. We had Center and State, Judas, Icarus, and Travis Williams teaming up against Brad Attitude and TW3. This match lasted 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Honestly, besides a dive to the outside by Travis Williams, and that was pretty much it. And when he did it in a way where he went to dive, did change the direction, and then redirected. They grabbed arms and redirected, and he dove to the side. Other than that, there wasn't any oh my god, spots in this match. Yeah. 6 minutes 50 seconds, you're not going to have it. I actually gave it 3 stars. I thought it was a good little match. I thought it was the prototypical kind of pre-show match, or even a weekly match. Good tag team match. I like both tag teams. I've seen Center and State and Defy Wrestling and some other companies. So yeah, good little tag team. 3-star match there. Next up, we were supposed to have Al Angels versus Ryan Nemeth. Both come out to the ring. Kaz comes out for the King's speech or whatever it's called, and he tells Ryan Nemeth to go in the back. He tells Al Angels to go to the back and get out of his ring. He brings in all the stuff for his little set. Ryan Nemeth is like, hey, in the rule, I get in the ring, and no matter what happens, I still get paid. Peace out. Al Angels took offense to this. Al Angels kind of sits in the corner, lets Kaz do his little speech thing, and then ends up confronting Kaz over it, and eventually, which led to a match. So we had Al Angels versus Frankie Kazarian on the pre-show. Match lasted 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Was kind of stupid segment, to be honest with you. Frankie Kazarian getting the victory. I gave it 2 stars. So yeah. So the first match on the actual card was the TNA Knockout World Title #1 Contender Battle Royal. Yeah, we had Battle Royal with entrances. If they're going to do stuff like this, I'd rather see the Royal Rumble kind of deal. So you have surprise entrances, but you just had kind of people come out. Ended up being Jody Threat, Elayna Black, Harley Hudson, Jade Stone, Marla Sade, Myla Moore, Myla Grace, Rosemary, Tasha Steelz, Tessa Blanchard, and Victoria Crawford. Basically a couple little factions. Jody Threat ended up going out under the ropes, because in the Battle Royal you gotta go over the top rope. Well, Tessa Blanchard thought she won, and then Jody Threat got back in and eliminated her. So Jody Threat is your #1 contender. Yeah, I wasn't really okay, I guess. It's okay. I mean, she's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong. But I'd rather see them actually use Tessa Blanchard instead of wasting her. I know in the pre-show I thought Elayna Black was going to win. I was hoping for a Masha Slamovich return. Didn't get either one of those. I give the match 2 3/4 stars. It lasted about 7 minutes and 54 seconds. Overall on this card, from what the preview was to the results, I ended up being 5-2 on the 7 matches I picked. So I'm good with that. Next up, we had the TNA International title line. We had champion Channing Stacks Lorenzo taking on Trey Miguel. I actually thought this match initially was going to go the way it went. And if you watch my preview, I literally changed in the middle of the preview and changed it for the wrong. They started out fighting on the outside. It was kind of just their standard match in the ring at that point, and then you had Grace end up slapping Trey Miguel. She throws the title belt in there, and it seemed like Channing didn't want to use it, and then Grace ends up slapping the referee. The referee sees it, or slapping Trey. The referee saw it, ends up kicking her out. Trey ends up, Lorenzo's like, what the hell just happened? And about her getting involved, and then because she's kind of, it's almost like she was face and he was heel, and now they're kind of going like this and changing to where she's more the heel, he's more the face. I don't get that change, but whatever. And then, but after the distraction, Trey Miguel ended up getting the victory. So Trey Miguel is your new international championship after cashing in his Feast or Fired briefcase. which this is his first ever singles title in TNA, which actually shocked me to hear that. But I guess he's been part of the Rascals for so long and part of the tag team stuff. I hate the fact he wasn't able to be in AEW with the Rascals, but unfortunately, sometimes the higher power has a little more say than they should. But anyway, so your new TNA International Champion is Trey Miguel. Next up, we had AJ Francis come out and cut a promo. Apparently, Jelly Roll was there. And AJ Francis tells Jelly Roll if he wants to get in the ring, call me big boy. So I eventually think they're going to set up something with AJ Francis and Jelly Roll, which could be just not good. But Jelly Roll has made an appearance in WWE before, so we'll see. And then we had on the pre-show, there was an argument with Mance Warner and Mike Jackson. They interviewed Mike Jackson. Mance came over and got in the middle of it and decided to call out Action Mike Jackson. 72-year-old guy, by the way. And so they set this match up. The real cool part was Mike Jackson, and he does this on all his matches. A lot of guys have done this. Kind of like The Undertaker does, the whole rope walk, but Mike Jackson does it all the way around the ring. If you're the person that's holding him, why don't you just yank him down? I mean, but anyway, he walks around the whole rope, does a freaking tope to the outside. I mean, legit. I mean, that's really the only offense. For Action Mike Jackson, 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Mance Warner ended up getting the victory. I gave it 2.25 stars. It was fun. Next up, we had the TNA Knockout Tag Titles on the line. We had the Elegance brand, headed by Elegance and then by Elegance, with Ash, Mr. Elegance, and the Personal Concierge at the ringside, taking on Indi Hartwell and Desire Brookside. Mr. Elegance was getting distracting Indi Hartwell. He's in his ring gear, so all the announcers are talking about that. Like, why is he in his ring gear? He's not even a wrestler. Drive-by kick by M off on, I think it was on Indi Hartwell. She was sitting on, laying on the ring and does a drive-by kick, and Indi ended up, both of the Elegance were standing on the ring with their back to the ring looking out. Indi Hartwell comes across and double drop kick and kicks them both out. Now, when they actually got the pin, I think M by Elegance got the pin. She pinned Indi Hartwell, but Indi Hartwell had her foot up on the rope, and Ash by Elegance pushes her foot off the rope, and so it wasn't on the rope when they counted. So we'll see if they end up doing something with that down the line. But I was just kind of ho-hum on this match. I ended up giving it 2.5. It lasted 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And then, of course, at the end, Mickie James comes out and attacks the Elegance brand. So I don't know if they're planning on something with that or if it's just because it was in Nashville. But we'll see if there's any future things with that one. But the Elegance brand are still your TNA Knockout champions. Next up, we had BDE and Eric Young. This match was made because of BDE turning down Eric Young to join his little cult faction thing. BDE ended up attacking EY before the bell. Did a couple big drop kicks, knocked him to the outside. Well, EY gets in the ring, they ring the bell, and Eli hits a low blow on him, on BDE. BDE ends up hitting a Canadian Destroyer. Didn't get the pin off of it. And I think it was Tom or one of the announcers said, if you hit a Canadian Destroyer on a Canadian, you better hope you get the pin. He didn't, unfortunately, and then Eric Young ended up getting the pin on that one. It lasted 10 minutes and 59 seconds. I ended up giving it 2.75 stars. And then we had the TNA Knockout title line champion Li Yang taking on Arianna Grace. Channing Lorenzo was at ringside. At 11, the announcers like, well, she's 0-8 this year. Last year she was like 4-26 or something crazy, and obviously not deserving a title match whatsoever. And was given one by her father. And then you had Dana Luna return, just randomly in the match. It freaking interesting hit. Dana Luna returns. I guess she was #1 contender when she went out. Stacks throws the belt in there for Arianna Grace. She ends up not using the belt, but ends up spearing Lee and ends up getting the 1-2-3. But Arianna Grace was more mad at Stacks Lorenzo because he lost his match, so it's like she's taking it out on him. She tried to do the Cobra and ended up getting anything with it. She did a version of the Cobra. She put the Cobra thing on, hits him right here instead of, like Santino did it, and then does some weird ass flip move and pins him. But Arianna Grace is your new TNA Knockout Women's Champion, an NXT person. This match lasted 13 minutes and 25 seconds, which, if you ask my opinion, was 13 minutes too long. I didn't give it a 2-star. It was one of those kind of like, oh, okay, it was here. Next up, we had the 8-man tag. We had Order 4, Jason Hotch, John Skyler, Mustafa Ali, and Special Agent Zero taking on the Hardys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, teaming up with the Righteous, Dutch, and Vince, which really didn't make a lot of sense, them teaming up. But okay, I mean, the Righteous wants to be best friends with the Hardys, but turn on them later, probably. I don't know. You had the big guys fighting. You had Dutch and Special Agent Zero just beating the tar out of one another in the ring. Honestly, there wasn't a lot to this match. It lasted 15 minutes and 42 seconds, but it seemed like it was just your typical, just like, go through the motions moves. Nothing big, nothing spectacular. Just kind of big guys will fight. Ali and Hardys will fly. Vincent will fight Jason Hotch. And we'll tag in, we'll do this. Kind of generic. You at one point, I think Matt Hardy was in the ring and Dutch was like begging to get in there. So that's like the Righteous is showing the Hardys they can trust them, which they're going to turn on them eventually. So okay, whatever. Order 4 gets the pin. And then we had Elijah's music hit. And what looked like Elijah, we could tell it was, it comes out pushing a guitar-shaped casket. Then you had Mustafa Ali realizing it wasn't Elias out there. Elias was in the casket and ended up hitting it, fighting with them. There's a casket match on Impact this week on Thursday. That's pretty much how I feel about that. Yeah, okay, sure, why not? I ended up giving this match 2.5. It lasted 15 minutes and 42 seconds with Order 4 getting the victory. Yeah, Eric Young I picked to win. Arianna Grace I picked to win. Order 4 I picked to win. And then our main event, we had Leon Slater and Mike Santana taking on Eddie Edwards and Nick Nemeth. The only intriguing thing about this match was they really hyped up the fact that Leon Slater hasn't had a match in over a month because of his visa issues. And that being Cruiserweight or X Division champion, he can do option C, which is to vacate the title for a world title match. You have Eddie Edwards with the Feast of Fire briefcase for a world title shot anytime he wants. You have Nick Nemeth with the cup that he can cash in for a title shot anytime he wants. And so they were kind of really playing that angle up and thinking it's going to be 3-on-1. And they even said before the match started, if either one of these guys decides to do their option, either Leon Slater in option C, Eddie Edwards and his Feast of Fire, or Nick Nemeth and his cup, then this will be a 1-on-1 match for the TNA World Title. Obviously, nobody decided to do that. Nick Nemeth early on was fighting with Leon Slater on the outside. Looks over at his cup like, maybe I should do that. Ends up not doing it, and then that obviously Santana caught this out of his eye, went over and attacked Nick Nemeth. Slater does his big standard, dive across the turnbuckle through the outside onto Eddie. And then we had Steve Macklin come out and attack Santana. Macklin got fired 2 weeks ago from Feast and Fire, but now he's attacking the world champion, and that's okay with everyone, I guess. Then you had a 2-on-1 with Nemeth and Edwards taking on Leon Slater and trying to literally take out Leon Slater. Then the System comes out and attacks Leon Slater. Then the Moose comes out, obviously creating the system, and now the system is against him and kicked him out of the system. So he comes out to help Leon Slater. It ended up being Slater and Nemeth. Slater ends up hitting the Swanton 450 and getting the 1-2-3 pin on Nick Nemeth. Santana was, because of getting taken out by Macklin and the system, he was off in the back, I guess. I don't know for sure. So yeah, I think, and I said this in the preview, I think the next pay-per-view for them is going to be next month. For TNA, it's going to be Sacrifice on March 27th. Now, I could see them holding off until Rebellion on April 11th, which is the night before AEW Dynasty, which is the week before Mania, of doing Mike Santana versus Leon Slater versus Nick Nemeth versus Eddie Edwards, doing the Fatal 4-Way. I know that's coming at one of those two shows, and I think it's going to come without anyone cashing in their briefcase and or cup, or doing option C for Leon Slater. I think they ended up having a Fatal 4-Way, one of those shows, and I'm guessing at Rebellion then, somebody would cash in and set up a match against Mike Santana. So overall, it was okay. The match lasted 23 minutes and 19 seconds, but in reality, I think it was only probably 15 minutes of the four of them. I ended up giving it 3.5. It was a pretty good little match. Match of the night, if you ask me. But yeah, overall, meh, when it comes to TNA No Surrender. From the preview, 5 out of 7 picks I got right. The ones I got wrong was the Battle Royal winner and then the international title. Did not know about the Mance Warner Mike Jackson pick match. So we'll see what happens at the next monthly pay-per-view. But other than that, TNA No Surrender review. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show, from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. Don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports show content.